We are committed to making fashion more sustainable.
Earth Day, a question of survival.
The Earth Day.
Companies that are out there greenwashing.
Magicians call this technique misdirection because it draws attention away from what they're really doing. When used properly, the magician's secret weapon will enable you to make objects vanish right before the spectator's eyes.
We can buy better!
Natural soap.
Create a line of super effective cleaning products, plant-based.
So the other week I was shopping in a mall and I saw some pretty striking posters outside H&M. At first glance, I was quite empowered by it. It was about climate change, and then it got me thinking. H&M is one of the biggest fast fashion brands out there, which largely contributes to climate change. Companies are seemingly working towards a greener future. But do some of these companies actually care about fighting climate change, or are they just fooling us through the misdirection of greenwashing? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I make commentary and occasionally lifestyle videos. If you enjoy my content, don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on the notification button down below so you don't miss out on any of my videos. For today's video, we're gonna look into some classic and newer examples of greenwashing, the reason why it's so important to educate ourselves and others about this issue, and lastly, what we can do about it. But before we get into today's video, I wanna thank Native for sponsoring today's video. So about a year ago, my housemate introduced me to Native deodorants, and it's genuinely one of the products that I love using every day, which is why I was so excited when Native reached out to me to try out their plastic-free range, and I got to choose 3 scents, which were charcoal. The scent is very earthy, mature, and complex. The second one I got is Earl Grey and Mulberry. This one to me makes me feel like a clean baby after a nice soapy, fancy shower at a nice hotel. Yeah. Third one that I got, the Lilac and White Tea. Very subtle floral scent. These plastic-free range have the same formula as their regular deodorant, but it's much more sustainable with its packaging that is made from paperboard. It's also paraben-free, vegan, and cruelty-free. The ingredients are simple and familiar, which includes shea butter and coconut oil. I personally love using my Native deodorants before my workouts because it always leaves me feeling really fresh afterwards. I really like that the texture is not sticky and it also dries really quickly. Native is also a proud partner of the 1% for the planet and commits 1% of plastic-free deodorant sales to environmental nonprofits. If you guys are interested, be sure to check out Native's new limited edition coffee house collection for fall. Instead of their usual $39 for 3 of their plastic-free range deodorants, you guys can get 25% off, making it just $29 if you use my link and code in the description down below.
One of your biggest tools as a magician is misdirection. But it's not enough to make someone look away. You have to give them something else to look at.
Greenwashing is when a company advertises their products and or policies as eco-friendly while little to nothing has changed behind the scenes. Companies have noticed the shift in consumers' preference towards environmentally conscious brands or products. So to boost sales and preserve brand relevance in a changing world, companies blow their budget on amazing marketing instead of actually focusing on a sustainable business model. The worst part is that most of these companies abuse the rise of eco-consciousness to conceal the more harmful aspects of production that go on in the background, such as poor labor conditions, animal abuse, and environmental harm. And the more they do it, the better they get at deceiving you.
So proud of you, Mr. Burns. You're getting your fortune back, and you're doing it without endangering the planet.
You haven't seen the best part.
Making fashion from plastic bottles is just another greenwashing tactic by brands to encourage people to buy more clothes in the belief they are more sustainable.
The H&M Conscious collection is a line of clothing where at least 50% of each piece is made from sustainable materials like organic cotton or recycled polyester. For each Conscious item you buy, you earn a Conscious point redeemable as a voucher. But the Conscious line has actually allegedly been found to contain a higher percentage of damaging synthetic materials compared to its main line. The worst part with their Conscious points is that they're encouraging consumers to consume more of their low-quality fast fashion clothing designed not to last.
I want my generation generation to enjoy the environment. I want to make a change in the world.
What I found more disturbing with their new ad campaigns was that they used young climate activists yet again to distract the fact that they have not changed or slowed down their unsustainable fast fashion business model.
Although 30% of it never gets sold, and a lot of that ends up in landfills.
H&M reported in 2018 that it had $4.3 billion worth of unsold clothing, up 7% from the year before. It incinerates some of those clothes. Much of this is because unsold inventory is pulled to make way for the latest fashions.
Similarly, Shein has launched its new campaign, SHEINCARES, where they donate $300,000 to animal welfare organizations. But of course, one of the ways you can support this is by buying a piece from their new Wild Hearts collection, followed by the consumers posting TikToks with adorable animal filters made for the campaign. However, this random campaign only came after their latest controversies like selling Muslim prayer mats as decoration and unsurprisingly stealing the hard work of numerous indie designers.
In 2014 compared to 2010, the average customer bought 60% more clothing, but kept each garment half as long.
It takes roughly 2,700 liters of water just to make one shirt, which is equivalent to roughly the amount of water an individual drinks in 4 years. Shein is arguably one of the biggest fast fashion retailers, releasing around 1,000 new items per day. To put into perspective, other ultra fast fashion competitors release the same amount, but per week. Just this business model itself of hyperconsumption and disposable products subjects the fast fashion industry to being one of the biggest contributors to climate change. There are a lot of videos out there, which I'll link down below, that expose the dirty reality of how fast fashion uses labor exploitation to get such dirt cheap prices. But the second major reason why fast fashion keeps its prices down is that the clothes are made from cheap material. So flimsy, it tears, shrinks, or fades so easily, and so you're forced to buy the same product over and over again from them. The worst part is that most of these popular cheap materials are also downright harmful.
What the? I have never seen a warning label like that before on clothing.
It was recently revealed that some of the products sold to children from Shein contained an extremely high level of lead.
The level of lead is almost 20 times higher than what's allowed in kids' products.
Even small amount of exposure from lead can cause serious health problems in humans too, like miscarriages, damage to the brain, heart, kidney, and reproductive system. If the finished product is so unsafe, imagine how much worse it is for these workers who have to work in poorly ventilated factories and handle these toxic chemicals every day. Fast fashion companies are notorious for using synthetic textiles like polyester and nylon to make their clothing cheap. But the problem with synthetic textiles is that when they're washed, microplastic is released into the water, which eventually ends up in the ocean, polluting the water and harming marine life. And that's why Shein does not care, nor does H&M or any of these fast fashion brands. It's a complete contradiction for any of them to claim that they're helping the environment while they run their businesses as usual.
Never explain what you're going to do ahead of time. The audience doesn't know what's going to happen. They won't know what to look for in advance and are much more likely to be baffled.
But unfortunately, the use of generic B-rolls of animals and the environment to greenwash consumers has been a go-to tactic for a while now.
While creating a cleaner future for all, and we all must do our part. But it's only human to protect the one we share.
Chevron is America's second largest oil company. In the 1980s, they started a campaign called People Do, amidst an onslaught of lawsuits filed against them for environmental pollution. In these ads, they make themselves out to be this wholesome guardian angel protecting the animals and the environment. But the ads were nothing more than a band-aid solution to their bad press. It was reported that Chevron never stopped breaching the Clean Air Act, the Clean Water Act, and spilling oil into wildlife refuges, violating the homes and lives of these innocent animals. And to this day, they remain one of the largest air and water polluters in the world.
Chevron and other fossil fuel companies like to go into areas, take out the oil, get all the profits they can, and leave behind massive pollution that the public or the area communities have to pay.
Similarly, Dawn launched their own animal welfare campaign too.
Dawn saves wildlife. Find out how the little things you do can make a big difference.
Their campaign was all about helping animals affected by oil spills. But the critics soon pointed out that Dawn's dishwashing soap is made with the very petroleum that they're supposedly saving animals from. So buying their products means creating a high demand for drilling for more oil, which in return increases the chances of another oil spill spill.
And vegan.
And vegan.
Vegan.
We make our soaps with natural ingredients from the earth.
Fortunately, we're seeing more vegan alternatives and options nowadays. But of course, this gives brands the opportunity to exploit the term like plant-based and vegan to greenwash consumers.
Create a line of super effective cleaning products, plant-based.
Kris Jenner and Chrissy Teigen have teamed up to create a new line of plant-powered home cleaning products. Firstly, to boast about being plant-based, meanwhile, use a chunk of meat in your ad photo.
Plant-based.
Doesn't really make sense. Kris says that her goal for this brand was to create products that doesn't cost the world. If these two millionaires cared about going green so much, I'm sure they can find better ways to do it that doesn't involve the production of more single-use plastic and unnecessary hyper-consumers, which is exactly what their whole empire thrives on, especially seeing how the world's wealthiest 1% produce double the combined carbon emissions of the poorest 50% of the world, largely due to their high carbon lavish lifestyles like driving SUVs, flying way more than necessary, and of course the energy consumption from their mansions.
I usually have the fire going whether it's winter, summer, fall, spring, whatever it is. I wanted to keep the tones pretty minimal, kind of earthy.
Oh, you haven't changed at all. You're still evil, and when you're trying to be good, you're even more evil.
In the recent years, there's been a rise in the sale of hybrid cars because more people want to support the environment and get an environmentally friendly car. But this has led to a number of famous car brands straight up cheating to pretend that their cars have lower carbon emission ratings than they're actually producing. BMW, Ford, Audi, Mercedes-Benz, Chevrolet, Volkswagen have all allegedly done this trick. So basically, these cars can somehow detect when they're being tested and then change their performance to get better and more eco-friendly results. But once they hit the road with us regular drivers, these cars were found to give off way more pollutants than they claimed. For 3 years in a row, Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, and Nestle have been ranked as the top 3 plastic polluters in the world, even though they've claimed so many times in the past to reduce their impact on the environment. But the total number of Coke bottles that were collected last year were higher than the ones collected by Pepsi and Nestle combined. If you look at their social media, you can immediately see how much time and money they spend on making sure they look eco-friendly. Considering the amount of waste these beverage companies produce, many critics suggest that instead of wasting their money on denying their impact on the environment, they should start investing in refill programs instead. This will prevent waste from being created in the first place and contribute to a circular economy.
What the world wants today is the real thing.
Your biggest asset though as a magician is your ability to tell a story. Remember, if your audience is captivated and really engaged in what it is you're saying, they're not going to have time to follow your hands. Remember, make the sneaky moments insignificant and make the insignificant moments as memorable as possible.
So some of you might be wondering, what's the big deal? What is the fuss about these companies greenwashing? Well, climate change doesn't affect us equally. The people who contribute to it the most, like the large corporations and the 1% of the world, will be the least affected by it.
Sekarang rasanya sangat panas. Kami seperti nggak bertahan lagi untuk hidup di daerah yang semakin panas ini.
Communities across Asia are constantly fighting a daily battle. Intense heat waves are killing thousands. Prolonged droughts are destroying livelihoods.
And not only that, but they're going out of their way to market themselves as the good guys by greenwashing. And so they use us, the consumers, as scapegoats to deflect the blame off themselves.
So you're a part of this too. And we all must do our part. You have the power to make a difference from the moment you wake up.
There are no rules in fashion, but one. Recycle your clothes.
Putting the pressure on us to make the changes instead of them putting the hard work to become more environmentally friendly. The The message here is not to shame anyone from buying fast fashion or companies that are not sustainable, because for some people it's their only option with factors like income, sizing, and accessibility. The issue here is when we are actively participating and normalizing wasteful consumption like disposable trends that destroys our planet. Not only does it encourage others around us to act the same, but worst of all, we're feeding into the dirty tricks of these unsustainable businesses and their unethical systems. And although it's literally up to them and the government to make these changes, we cannot use that as an excuse to not try live sustainably. But living sustainably isn't just about buying eco-friendly products. There's so much more we can learn about the impacts of our lifestyle and our habits. Large corporations can only make changes under pressure from the people. People are waking up, especially the younger generation. Fortunately, we're seeing more people learn about sustainable living. With the recent rise of secondhand shopping, it's now expected to be double the size of fast fashion by 2029. But at the same time, because more of us are starting to care about the environment, we have to remember their magic tricks are only getting better.
Our generation, we don't like doing all this recycling. It's a bit mafan. Just dump inside in the plastic bag and down the chute, that's all.
We need to realize that if more of us start to care about the environment and try to put an effort into living sustainably, not only will it inspire others around us, but most importantly, it means more of us will take action on supporting large-scale policies needed for progress and collectively demanding for more accessible and sustainable options, which is exactly what these greenwashing companies don't want us to do. They don't want us to slow down and question the fast-paced, wasteful lifestyle. If you want to learn more about climate change and greenwashing, I will link some videos down below which I highly recommend watching. I'm not perfect and I'm still learning new ways on how to reduce my carbon footprint. So I would love to hear in the comment section down below if you guys have any tips or changes you've made to living more sustainably. And I would love to hear in the comment section down below if you know any cases of greenwashing that you came across. So that is all I have for today's video. I hope you guys learned something from this. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on the notification button down below so you don't miss out on any of my videos. That's it for today, and I will see you guys next time.